Well, welcome to Morris Money, where we give you stock tips in under 5 minutes. I'm your host, Willie. Morris Money breaking news. Subscriber inflation data has been released. Month-over-month subscriber inflation is 15.9% below analyst expectations. If you want to raise inflation, subscribe to Morris Money. Today, I'm going over some comments from my last video where I discussed a potential bearish factor for ILUS, dealing with the share structure and share distribution amongst the higher ups at ILUS, specifically the CEO Nick Ling. If you haven't watched the video yet, I recommend watching it because it is a little different from my typical bullish ILUS videos. And along with that though, I want to give a shout out to Jord Huga. I apologize if I pronounced his name wrong, but he's always commenting on my ILUS videos, and he actually responded to a couple of the comments within the last video. So a definite big thanks to him. So one of the first comments was, am I an ILUS shareholder? Yes, I own a couple thousand shares of ILUS and I plan to hold them for the long term, and I plan to continue buying ILUS stock as right now in the single digits range, I think it's a great deal. Second comment I want to touch on came from Dirk Newham. Apologize again if I messed up your name or anybody else's name that I potentially mess up within the video. In summary, he was talking about what acquisitions that ILUS has completed, what companies they own, and what the company was getting done when it comes to acquisitions, because as he said, and I mean it has some merit, a lot of companies will announce acquisitions or say that they're in the process of acquiring a company, but then fall through on the deal, or they might get halfway through it and only take a minority stake in the deal possibly instead of owning the full company. To answer his question, right now ILUS owns ILUS International UK 100%, FB Fire Technologies 100%, Firebuck Mechanical Equipment 100%, Bright Concept Detection and Protection Systems LLC, which they hold 75% of the company, Bullhead Products 100% of the company, Georgia Fire and Rescue 100% of the company, and Wikisoft, the ticker that they bought, they have a 77% stake in the company. But to quote Jord Huga in his comment, that the company is also in a quiet period of acquiring a $100 million a year revenue company. And he also brought up the fact that ILUS is in their audit period right now. So the stuff that we got from the quarterly report, like as I read off before, the companies that they have stake in and own 100% outright, we should get more insights on these companies and potential deals that are coming up. The next comment is from Contique Wilcott. Again, apologize if I butchered the name. Forget the shares for a minute. How is the company doing? Are they making money? How much debt do they have? Are they improving quarter over quarter? How many assets do they have growing? Just a few questions. The stock will eventually follow the true value of the company. So to start off with, how's the company doing? Well, the company is still growing and it's in its acquisition phase. So in order to become a conglomerate, it's still buying up businesses. Are they making money? Yes. They had a gross profit of $5.8 million and net income of $1.1 million. When referring to debt, I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to talk about liabilities. So right now, total liabilities are $25 million with total long-term liabilities at $8 million. Is the company growing quarter over quarter? Absolutely. The last time that they reported, they had a gross profit of $1.8 million, and this was March 31st of 2022. Now, in June 2022, as I said before, they have a gross profit of $8.9 million. And if we're talking about net income, in March, the company had a net income of $636,000, and as I said before, this quarter they have a net income of $1.1 million. Last part to the question was, are assets growing? And yes, in March, the total assets were $34 million. Currently, total assets are $55 million. In addition, in the March quarter, total current assets were $15.8 million, and this quarter, total current assets are $35.5 million, if that makes a difference. Final thing I wanted to touch on was a comment from, guess who, Jord Huga, where he talked about the share structure and actually cleared up something that I wasn't too sure about. He said, there are a few things about the shares. First, Nick just moved some of the preferred shares that pay a dividend because they are going to be a share lockup for ILUS holders. In addition to that, they are also using the shares for acquisitions, which add value opposed to a stock like AITX, who just raised authorized shares by $1 billion and is diluting value to their current shareholders. Just an example. Lastly is the commitment ILUS has made to reducing the shares. While this can seem otherwise, watching the share count grow from time to time. Their interests are aligned with us, and we will see numerous things done to further slower the share count. Thanks, Morris, for the coverage as always. Did I have to add in that last part? No, but he said it, and I'm gonna read it. All jokes aside though, I'm glad that he commented this because I remember seeing something about ILUS shareholders potentially locking up shares, and it's great to see that Nick Link is planning on putting some of these shares into the ILUS share lockup. Here's the thing, I hope I cleared up some of these comments and hope you can learn something from it too. But what I want to say at the end of the day is I'm not a bear on ILUS. I love the company, but I also think that sometimes you have to share some bearish news to keep both sides aligned. Because for all the bullish sentiment I give on ILUS, you also have to make sure that you talk about the not so pretty news. But then again, last video was more so just speculation on my behalf. It was just something I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. But let me know what you think about all this below. Are you a bear or a bull on ILUS? And what are your long-term projections for the stock? Let me know below. Please don't take this video as financial advice, and thank you for watching Morris Money.